Good morning, everyone. I want to talk to you about a concept that has the power to protect your peace, restore your dignity, and recalibrate your boundaries. In 2025, as you step boldly into your next chapter, there is a simple but profound mantra I want you to carry: don't react, cut them off silently. Now, I'm not talking about living in bitterness or isolation. No, this is about choosing courage over comfort, boundaries over resentment, and intentionality over drama. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I value my energy so deeply that I refuse to waste it where it's not honored. Let me tell you something powerful. Your energy is the most valuable resource you have. It's not your time, not your money, because without energy, you can't maximize either of those things. Your energy is what drives your decisions, fuels your goals, and sustains your relationships. Yet so often we give it away so freely to people who drain it, to situations that deplete it, and to conflicts that don't deserve it. In 2025, I want you to commit to seeing your energy as sacred. Imagine it as a currency limited, precious, and non-renewable in the short term. Would you walk into a store and throw money at things you don't need? Would you hand your savings to someone who disrespects its value? Of course not. So why do we do that with our energy? Protecting your energy begins with recognizing where it's going. Ask yourself, who or what is taking the most from me? Are these people or situations adding value to my life or subtracting from it? You have to conduct an energy audit, yes, an audit, because not everyone or everything deserves access to the best parts of you. Here's the truth: the people who drain your energy don't always come with warning signs. Sometimes they're the ones closest to you. They might not mean harm, but their words, actions, or expectations weigh on you like an invisible burden. It could be a friend who constantly complains but never listens, a colleague who expects you to pick up their slack, or even a family member who pushes your boundaries without a second thought. And the hardest part? They've gotten so used to your generosity that they don't even realize they're overstepping. But hear me clearly, this is not about cutting people off harshly or shutting out the world. It's about learning to say no unapologetically, about creating boundaries that serve as safeguards for your energy. Saying no doesn't mean you're selfish, it means you're self-aware. It means you've decided to prioritize the life you want to build over the distractions that derail you. And let's talk about those distractions for a moment. Conflict is one of the biggest thieves of energy. Think about the last time someone upset you. How much time did you spend replaying that argument in your head, crafting the perfect comeback, or venting to someone else about it? That's energy, your energy gone. Energy that could have been spent working on your dreams, nurturing your well-being, or simply enjoying your life. Protecting your energy also means being intentional about where you invest it. Not every battle is yours to fight, and not every person is yours to save. You have to understand that walking away from conflict or toxicity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. When you disengage from what drains you, you're reclaiming your power. You're telling the world, I am too valuable to waste my strength on what doesn't serve me. And let me share one more insight: protecting your energy isn't just about avoiding what drains you, it's about pouring into what sustains you. Spend time with people who uplift you, engage in activities that recharge you, and pursue goals that inspire you. Protecting your energy is not just about defense, it's about offense, actively building a life that energizes and excites you. In 2025, make this your mantra: my energy is my responsibility. It's not anyone else's job to protect it, it's yours. Stop handing it over to people or situations that haven't earned it. Guard it like the treasure it is, and watch how your life transforms when you start living from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Protect your energy, because without it, you can't show up fully for yourself or anyone else, and you deserve to show up for the life you're meant to live. Boundaries. The word alone carries a sense of strength and clarity. But let's be honest, how often do we truly understand the power of boundaries, let alone enforce them? Setting boundaries isn't just about keeping others in check, it's about honoring yourself. It's a declaration of self-respect that says, I value myself enough to define what I will and won't allow in my life. When you establish boundaries, you're not just drawing a line, you're creating a framework for how others can interact with you. It's a statement that you recognize your own worth and refuse to compromise it for the comfort of others. Let's make one thing clear: boundaries are not selfish. In fact, they're one of the most compassionate things you can establish, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Why? Because boundaries remove ambiguity. They clarify expectations and allow relationships to flourish in mutual respect. But here's the truth: boundaries are often uncomfortable to set, especially if you're used to being a people pleaser or someone who avoids conflict. Saying no when you've always said yes can feel foreign. And you might worry about offending others, disappointing them, or being labeled as difficult. But let me tell you something: the discomfort of setting a boundary is temporary, the pain of living without them is permanent. Imagine this: you're a beautiful home filled with light, love, and potential. Now picture leaving your doors and windows wide open 24/7. Anyone and anything can walk in at any time, bringing their mess, their demands, and their expectations. Over time, the beauty of your home becomes cluttered, chaotic, and unrecognizable. That's what life without boundaries looks like. Boundaries are the doors and locks that protect the sanctity of your home. They don't block everything out, they allow in what aligns with your values and keeps out what doesn't. In 2025, I want you to recognize that boundaries are not about punishment, they're about preservation. Preservation of your peace, your energy, and your dignity. Setting boundaries means deciding, I will not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or anything that diminishes my sense of self-worth. It's choosing to prioritize your well-being over someone else's comfort. Here's the thing: not everyone will like your boundaries, especially those who've benefited from your lack of them. When you start saying no to things you used to accommodate, you might face resistance. People might accuse you of changing or being selfish. But let me remind you, the people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries because they respect you. Those who don't, they were never invested in your well-being, they were invested in what you could do for them. Let me tell you why boundaries are critical in maintaining your emotional and mental health. Without boundaries, resentment builds. You start saying yes to things you don't want to do, and over time, it eats away at your sense of self. You begin to feel used, undervalued, and overwhelmed. And guess what? That resentment doesn't just hurt you, it spills into your relationships, creating tension and conflict. Setting boundaries is the antidote to resentment. It's a way to protect your peace and ensure that you're giving from a place of abundance, not obligation. But let's not forget, boundaries aren't just about saying no, they're about saying yes to yourself, yes to your needs, your priorities, and your dreams. Boundaries create the space you need to focus on what truly matters. They free you from the weight of other people's expectations, allowing you to step into your authenticity. And remember, boundaries don't have to be loud or confrontational. Sometimes the most powerful boundaries are silent and firm. It's not about announcing to the world what you won't tolerate, it's about quietly enforcing it. It's choosing not to pick up that call, not to engage in that argument, or not to participate in situations that compromise your values. In 2025, let this be your commitment: I will honor myself by setting boundaries. I will not apologize for protecting my peace, and I will not feel guilty for prioritizing my well-being. Boundaries are not barriers, they're bridges to a healthier, more fulfilling life. When you set boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. But more importantly, you teach yourself how to treat yourself with respect, care, and unwavering love. So draw the line, not out of anger or spite, but out of deep, unshakable self-respect. Because when you honor your boundaries, you honor the incredible person you were always meant to be. In a world that is constantly talking, constantly shouting, constantly demanding to be heard, silence has become one of the most underappreciated yet powerful tools you can wield. Silence isn't weakness. Silence isn't avoidance. Silence is strength. It's intentional, strategic, and transformative. When someone offends you, mistreats you, or tries to pull you into unnecessary drama, the instinct is often to react, to defend yourself, to prove a point, or to ensure that they feel the sting of your response. But let me ask you this: has reacting ever truly brought you peace? Has arguing ever brought lasting resolution? More often than not, our reactions only escalate the situation, wasting time and energy on people or circumstances that don't deserve them. That's where silence comes in. Silence is not about retreating or admitting defeat. It's about taking control. When you choose silence, you're choosing not to fuel the fire. You're choosing to conserve your energy and let your actions speak louder than your words ever could. Silence sends a message that says, I value my peace more than this argument. But let's go deeper. Silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of self-awareness. It's the ability to pause, reflect, and decide what truly deserves your attention. Silence allows you to step back from the noise, assess the situation, and make a choice rooted in clarity rather than emotion. It's the ultimate form of self-control. Here's the beauty of silence: it forces others to face themselves. When you refuse to engage in their chaos, they're left with nothing but their own actions to reflect on. Silence is a mirror, and it's often far more powerful than any words you could say. The person who expects you to react is caught off guard when you don't. The person who thrives on conflict is disarmed when you choose calm. Silence shifts the power dynamic. It places you in control of the narrative without ever having to raise your voice. Think about this: when you respond with silence, you remove the fuel that keeps negativity alive. Arguments lose their momentum. Gossip loses its power. Toxic people lose their grip on your emotions. Silence is your way of saying, I see what's happening, but I refuse to participate. Silence also speaks volumes in relationships. Whether it's a friendship, a partnership, or a professional connection, silence can be your way of setting a boundary. It's saying, without words, I will not entertain disrespect, manipulation, or anything that diminishes my self-worth. You don't have to argue. You don't have to explain yourself. Silence is explanation enough. But let's be clear: silence is not about ignoring everything. It's about choosing where to invest your voice. There are moments when speaking up is necessary, when advocating for yourself or others is the right thing to do. But not every situation requires your input, and not every person deserves access to your thoughts. Silence is about discernment. It's about knowing when to engage and when to let go. And let's talk about the internal power of silence. When you choose silence, you give yourself the gift of stillness. You allow your mind to rest, your emotions to settle, and your spirit to recharge. Silence is where clarity is born. It's where you reconnect with your inner voice, the voice that knows who you are and what you stand for. In 2025, I want you to embrace the strength of silence. Let your silence become your statement. Let it protect your peace, preserve your dignity, and remind others that you're not someone who can be easily swayed or provoked. Remember, silence isn't passive, it's powerful. It's active resistance to negativity. It's a choice to rise above rather than sink to the level of chaos. Silence is your declaration that you refuse to let external noise dictate your internal state. So when faced with conflict, drama, or toxic people, choose silence, not because you're afraid, but because you're strong. Not because you don't have words, but because you know the power of withholding them. Let your silence speak louder than anything you could ever say. Because in silence there is wisdom, in silence there is strength, and in silence there is peace. There's a common misconception about cutting someone off, and it's rooted in fear, guilt, and misunderstanding. Many people believe that to distance yourself from someone means you're holding a grudge or harboring hatred. But let me set the record straight today. Cutting someone off isn't an act of hate, it's an act of healing. It's not about punishing them, it's about protecting yourself. We need to understand that some connections are like open wounds. They hurt, they fester, and they prevent you from fully thriving. When you recognize that a relationship, whether it's a friendship, a family tie, or even a romantic bond, is consistently draining your spirit, it's time to evaluate its place in your life. Cutting off toxic or unhealthy relationships isn't about animosity, it's about acknowledging that some people or dynamics are not compatible with your growth, peace, or purpose. When you choose to cut someone off, it doesn't mean you wish them harm. On the contrary, it often means you're mature enough to wish them well, but from a distance. You're saying, I love myself enough to step away from what's hurting me. Cutting someone off is not rejection, it's redirection. It's redirecting your energy toward healing, toward positivity, and toward building the life you deserve. Think about it this way: if you're holding on to something that's breaking you, how can you hold on to what's meant to build you? You can't carry the weight of toxic relationships and expect to soar. Sometimes cutting someone off is the most loving thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for them too. Staying in a relationship that is fueled by resentment, pain, or constant conflict doesn't serve anyone. Walking away creates space for healing for you and for them. Now, let's address the guilt. Guilt often comes disguised as loyalty. You think, but I've known them for so long, I can't just let them go. Or, what will they think of me? Here's the truth: longevity doesn't equal loyalty, and loyalty doesn't mean sacrificing your well-being. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they're meant to stay forever. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and it's okay to recognize when their season has ended. Cutting someone off doesn't erase the good memories or the lessons you've learned from them. It simply acknowledges that the dynamic has shifted, and continuing in the same way is no longer healthy. It's about honoring what was while letting go of what no longer serves you. But cutting someone off doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to announce it, explain it, or justify it. Healing is personal, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Some people will understand and others won't. And that's okay. Remember, your healing journey is about you, not about their approval or understanding. Here's an important truth: cutting someone off isn't about shutting down your heart. It's about opening it to something greater. It's about creating room for healthy relationships, for genuine connections, and for the love and respect you deserve. When you remove toxicity from your life, you make space for positivity to flourish. Cutting someone off also teaches you about self-responsibility. It's a reminder that you are in charge of your emotional, mental, and spiritual health. You can't control how others treat you, but you can control whether or not you allow them to stay in your life. Letting go is your way of reclaiming your power and reminding yourself that your peace matters. And let's not forget, forgiveness is part of the healing process. Cutting someone off doesn't mean you're holding on to bitterness. It means you're forgiving them for the role they played in your pain, even if they never apologize. It means you're forgiving yourself for staying in a situation that hurt you, even when you knew better. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation, it requires release. In 2025, I want you to redefine what cutting someone off means. It's not about hate, it's about love. Love for yourself, love for your future, love for the peace that is waiting for you on the other side of the pain. Cutting someone off is not a final chapter. It's the beginning of a new story, a story where you prioritize your well-being, embrace your healing, and step boldly into the life you were meant to live. So when you think about letting someone go, remember this: you're not giving up on them, you're choosing to show up for yourself. You're not shutting them out, you're inviting healing in. And you're not cutting them off out of hate, you're cutting the cord that's been holding you back so you can move forward in freedom and peace. Peace is one of the most valuable treasures you can possess. It is the anchor that keeps you steady in the storms of life, the foundation upon which you build a meaningful existence, and the compass that guides you toward your purpose. Yet peace is also one of the most vulnerable aspects of your life. It is constantly under threat by distractions, negativity, toxic relationships, and even your own inner doubts and fears. That's why guarding your peace is not just an option, it's a necessity. To guard your peace fiercely, you must first recognize its worth. Too often, we undervalue peace because it seems intangible. You can't hold it in your hands or measure it in dollars, but you feel its absence the moment it's gone. When your peace is disrupted, everything else suffers. Your energy diminishes, your clarity fades, and your ability to make sound decisions weakens. Peace isn't just a luxury, it's the foundation of a thriving life. Guarding your peace starts with discernment. Not every opportunity, relationship, or invitation deserves your yes. Saying yes to everything is often a fast track to chaos. You must learn to evaluate what aligns with your values, your purpose, and your well-being. Anything that doesn't align with these core principles is a threat to your peace. Discernment is your shield. It protects you from being pulled in 1,000 different directions that lead nowhere. Guarding your peace also requires boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they're gateways that allow in what nourishes you and keep out what drains you. Without boundaries, you leave your peace exposed to the whims and demands of others. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. When you say no to what disrupts your peace, you're saying yes to yourself. Another critical aspect of guarding your peace is learning to let go. Letting go of grudges, past mistakes, or toxic attachments is essential. Carrying emotional baggage is like dragging a weight behind you. It slows you down and saps your strength. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or invalidating your experiences. It means freeing yourself from their grip. When you let go, you reclaim the mental and emotional space that negativity once occupied, making room for peace to flourish. Guarding your peace fiercely also means managing your time and energy with intention. Time is a non-renewable resource, and how you spend it determines the quality of your life. Pay attention to the environments you enter, the conversations you engage in, and the media you consume. Are they feeding your peace or stealing it? You have the power to choose where your energy goes. Choose wisely. Self-care is another vital element of protecting your peace. It's not just about spa days or bubble baths. It's about attending to your physical, emotional, and spiritual needs on a daily basis. It's about ensuring that you're not running on empty, that you're nourishing yourself in ways that sustain your peace. Self-care is not indulgence, it's an investment in your resilience. Lastly, guarding your peace involves mastering the art of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care, it means you refuse to let external circumstances control your internal state. It means recognizing that your peace is not dependent on everything going perfectly. Detachment allows you to remain calm in the face of chaos, grounded in the midst of uncertainty, and centered even when the world around you is anything but. In 2025, let us step into a higher level of self-awareness and self-respect. Refuse to react to negativity, distractions, or toxic relationships. Protect your energy fiercely, set boundaries that honor your worth, and embrace the silence that speaks volumes. Understand that cutting someone off is not an act of hate, but an act of healing, a declaration that your peace and purpose matter. Guard your peace as the priceless treasure it is, for it is the foundation of a fulfilled life. Walk away from what no longer serves you and walk boldly toward a life of clarity, purpose, and freedom.